My financial independence or financial freedom journey grew from a tragic event. I had my daughter. She was born on Christmas Day. A few months after she was born, took her to the ER. They told me the most devastating news ever. My daughter wasn't going to live until tomorrow and that she needed a heart transplant today. The entrepreneur that is at rock bottom, just know your greatness is on the other side of that brokenness. I started over with $40.
This quintillionaire number, knowing you're a quintillionaire, you've even got it on your shirt. Tell us,
I have it on my shirt.
what is this quintillionaire number that I'm supposed to know? Welcome back to Gathering the Kings podcast. I am your host, Chaz Wolfe, and today on the show, I have Janine Jennings. She's the president of JP Tax Service and Accounting, and she's a queen on a mission to be able to help business owners get their taxes and their spending on point. Here are the three things that we discuss. 1, turning tragedy into blessings, an incredible story. 2, starting over from nothing. And 3, knowing your quintillionaire number. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, comment down below on how you organize your spending, or maybe you don't. And you're going to hear from Janine on how you can get that changed. Enjoy the show. Janine J9JJ Jennings. How we doing, Janine?
I am so dynamic today.
Ooh.
And you like that word?
I do, but I've never had anybody describe themselves as being dynamic today. Like, whoa. Can you give me just a little bit more on that? How do you feel dynamic?
I just got the chills too. I just feel thankful to be on your show. And I feel very blessed to be able to help someone and give them one nugget from our conversation that can take them from here to there.
Yeah, we're going to make some impact here today. Janine, you have a super unique business. Actually, I guess multiple businesses. Your background kind of comes from two worlds that have combined together,
Yes.
but you work with entrepreneurs in all different fields. Tell us what you do.
I am the president of JP Tax Service and Accounting and the president of Cultural Differences Salon. And I help entrepreneurs organize their spending, save more money on their taxes, and help them calculate and start simple retirement plans.
Yeah, and if anybody's listening thought that tax strategy or organizing your spending maybe sounds stressful at all, that smooth, buttery voice from J9 over there is going to just make sure everything's cool, calm, and collected for you when it comes tax season. But in all seriousness, organized spending. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is really just understanding where you're spending your money. And so you can make informed decisions about your future, about your business, about your family, about how you want to retire, because a lot of people don't know that. So if you organize your spending and have a clear picture of what you're spending your money on,
Yeah.
making informed decisions about your life is the best thing.
Okay, so here we are. I'm listening right now. You're talking about organizing my spending so I know where my money's going. Well, if I'm spending it. Don't I know where my money's going? Why wouldn't I know where my money's going, Janine?
It's something that you have to look at every day. Like we look at our phones every day. We have to look at what we're spending every day. Look at our net worth every day. We haven't been trained to do that. Still working.
That's right. Okay, so the long-term value obviously is making good decisions, but you're talking about pretty practically looking every day at transactions, looking every day at the amount of money. You said net
Yeah.
worth. Like that's a big thing that I'm about, but describe to our listeners, what is net worth? How do I calculate that? Why should I look at it every day? Give us some information there.
Your net worth is your gross income minus your expenses, and that equals your net worth as a simple breakdown of it. Knowing what that is helps you to make quality decisions about your future. And how do you want to live when you get older? Because that is inevitable. And then when do you plan on retiring?
Right.
Or what do you want to do when you get older?
Okay, so you're talking about 40 years from now. I'm 20. I just started my business, or maybe I'm 40. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be 100 years old. Like, I'll think about that later. Why is it important for me to literally stop what I'm doing and go, okay, maybe I should start calculating a few things here, paying attention to my net worth? Just easier for me just to, I mean, I go out, I can eat a nice dinner, I pay for my phone, I can buy a nice car now. Like, I can just have all the fun now and that'll sort itself out later. Right? That's what people think.
That's what people think. A lot of people outlive their money. I wanted to give one little tidbit,
Yeah.
kind of three steps. First, pick a date that you're going to die. Then pick a date you're going to retire. Then go to ssa.gov and figure out how much you're going to be able to pull down when you do retire. You need 40 credits to be able to pull Social Security. If you don't have that 40 credits, then you need to pay into Social Security. And then once you pick a date you retire, figure out where you're going to live, if you're going to have a house and pay a house note, if you're going to pay a car note, kind of have a gauge. Doesn't have to all be figured out. And then you can start a simple retirement plan by going to acorns.com and putting as little as $10 a week into a Roth IRA until you are able to put more in. And then you can open up a Vanguard account for free. All this is free. And I like the S&P 500 because that is 500 of the most secure stocks that perform well. And you can put as little as $50 a month in or as much as $1,500 a month in to grow your money because you need a vehicle to grow your money while you're still working.
Yeah. Well, as you're talking to entrepreneurs here, I mean, obviously I'm an entrepreneur. Thought for a long time about, taking care of my money. And
Mhm.
I'm not a penny pincher by any means at all. Okay. There's a couple pennies that go here, a couple pennies that go there. Okay, fine. But I will tell you, I look at the bank accounts every single day. I look at financial reports every single month. I'm
Mm.
usually somehow, some way trying to save up some money and make an investment, whether it's in real estate or in some sort of a business growth play. But not everybody thinks like that. And I didn't necessarily get raised in a home that thought like that.
Yeah,
And
right.
so how does someone like me, I'll tell you maybe how I came to that conclusion here in a minute, but from your experience, how can I learn to do these things, especially if I didn't grow up in a scenario where someone was teaching me, probably like you teach your kids and how I'm going to teach my kids?
My financial independence or financial freedom journey grew from a tragic event.
Okay.
So mine just grew out of sheer desperation. I already had a son and I had my daughter. She was born on Christmas Day.
Oh, wow.
And a few months after she was born, I noticed for a week, she wasn't herself. And so by that Saturday, I took her to the ER. And so when we were in the ER, they took one look at her and rushed us up to ICU. Well, I was bewildered because I took her to the doctor all that week.
Oh,
And so they told me the most devastating news ever, which was my daughter wasn't going to live until tomorrow and that she needed a heart transplant today. I'm like, boy, what? I don't,
yeah.
I don't. I was mystified.
Yeah.
And so I just fell to the floor because that was the worst news that you can ever hear. And you didn't even think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so we spent, that was April, May, June, July, 4 months in ICU. And mind you, I had a son who was 3 and I had a career as a hairstylist. And spending 4 months in the ICU, it's like, how am I going to afford a heart transplant? I still have to parent my son who goes to preschool. It was a lot. So like spending all of my money, not having any money, having to still work to be able to afford rent, lights, gas, water. That was a whole lot. And so she was placed number 2 in the country for a heart transplant. And in October, she was able to get a heart. Well, the transplant was a success, but through that whole time, she had caregivers and nurses, and I still had to work.
Yeah.
I would have loved to be off and I would have loved to have a surplus of money where I could just focus on her, but
Right.
that didn't happen. I didn't have that. And so after the transplant, she didn't make it, but it just taught me a real valuable lesson of, wow, I need a retirement. I need to have extra savings. This is a one-time tragic event that if I would have loved to just have been there for it completely instead of having to work a lot and then go to the hospital. So
Yeah.
I learned about retirements for self-employed people, how to save money, how to spend my money, how to know not to just spend, spend, spend.
For you in that moment, it was like obviously like the water, had just been shut off, like possibly your literal water, but I just mean this figurative situation in life, like things stopped and just the music got turned off, and you started thinking differently. How did you keep from like hyper fear and like overthinking and giving up more than I mean, because what the pressure pushed you into thinking about retirement for self-employed people and how to
Mhm.
not spend as much and like an amazing result, but I see it happening the other way for so many other people if they had been in that scenario. Why did you go that way?
Because I knew there was more for to my life and for my life. I just knew that was a moment and that was a tragic moment, but it was God doesn't do things for no reason. So I just knew he had me. And even though I was real, like broken, I was broken. It literally, so that was in 2004. So just like really now, 20 years later, I'm able to really speak upon it and not get choked up and just, heal myself and know that I honor her by doing different things on Christmas Day, like letting off some balloons, but I just knew there was more for me than just being heartbroken and broken, period.
Yeah. What would you say for the person maybe they haven't had that same circumstance, right, happen, but
Right.
they're listening right now and they're broken. Male or female. Like I'm gonna encourage the dudes right now that are listening. I mean, their broken just looks different, right? And so
Yes.
what would you
Yes.
suggest for that person who's at that very, very bottom, like you were just talking about, like where you probably didn't even feel like you could move, but you knew that you needed to. What
Right.
what do they need to do or what do they need to think?
Well, they need to give themselves permission to proceed, for
Wow.
one, and forgive yourself for it not being your fault. Because a lot of people think, oh, if I would have done this, if I would have done that, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Give yourself, you know, forgive yourself
Yeah.
for one. Then thirdly, what do you want for your life? What do you want? But since I was young, first grade, I knew what I wanted for my life. I just was headstrong. Like I knew first grade I was going to be a hairstylist and a neurosurgeon.
Oh, okay. We're gonna make
Yes.
sure your brain works and then put some nice hair on you.
Why those two completely different
Oh, I
professions,
mean,
I
let's
don't
be
know.
honest here, Janine. Like taxes and hair. I mean, they might as well be
They
neuroscience and hair.
right. So I just knew I had a design and I liked helping people and I couldn't give up on the people
Yeah,
that I'm destined to help.
I love that.
The entrepreneur that is at rock bottom, just know your greatness is on the other side of that brokenness. Believe in yourself that you know you can provide goodness to someone else that is in your same situation and they will get inspiration from you and you can save somebody else's life too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, belief is the bedrock. If we're going to use this this rock bottom type language, it's the bedrock for everything, and that crosses over backgrounds, that crosses over industries, situations that you've been a part of or that I have been a part of. We do have to have belief. Like actual faith is the works that are happening after the belief has taken root. And so
Yes.
truly, actually, things don't actually happen really until the principle of faith is in place, whether that's again
Yeah.
in yourself or in a creator. What we're talking about here, we could go the rest of the show on, but I think that your message is clear that belief. I mean, I was just I was just recording with another guest earlier today, and we ended with "Don't Stop Believing," the song from Journey. In that moment, what other option did you have other than quitting? And you already knew you weren't going to do that. You had already decided back in first grade, I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to
I'm
roll
not a
over,
quitter.
you know?
Yeah. I'm not a quitter. That just taught me from that experience, that just taught me I can withstand anything,
That's right.
any, and it's not anything, it's anything.
A little Tyler Perry in here.
Hey, kings and queens, Chaz Wolfe. I want to talk to you about something that's super important to me. We put a lot of time and effort, we meaning myself and my team, into this podcast, into the content that goes out every single day. And if you have been getting any sort of value or insight from this, we want it to be able to reach other business owners too. So we would love if you would like, comment, share, leave a review, post, share again, all of the things on social media, on all the different platforms, or even on the podcast mediums of Apple and Spotify. We would love to be able to get our content into more hands, more entrepreneurs, so they can grow their business as quick as possible. Together, we are building a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are committed to growing their businesses to new heights. So let's do this. Let's help each other grow.
So I was married to her father. And so after, like, we got divorced, we just couldn't get back right from that
Mm,
experience. I was at the hospital like 12 hours. Then I would go after work, stay all night, go home, take my son to school, go to work, pick my son up, do his homework, go to the hospital. So
it's a
it
hard
was like
cycle.
a whole system. And so after me and my ex, during that time, he didn't have the capacity to do anything. He was just so devastated.
Yeah. Yeah, he's grieving.
Yeah. So, you know, the divorce, I'm like, I just walked. It's like oh, okay, we're getting divorced. All right. My daughter passed away. I can handle anything, sir.
How has that served you today? Like in business, multiple businesses now, older kids now, and they're starting to prepare for their lives. And you have this bulletproof vest on now where you walk in and you're like, come at me, bro. How does that help you?
It's helped me to just stay consistent. And people like a consistency in any business. When you go to Chick-fil-A, you're going to consistently get, I like Sunjoys. It's going to taste the same every time I get it.
Yeah.
People like consistency, and that just breeds referrals where people know that what they can expect from you. And I feel the worst has already happened, you know?
Yeah.
It really can't get any worse than that. Losing a child is one of the most devastating things that you can ever do or could ever happen to you.
Yeah.
And so that's how I look at it. Like I was already hurt. I was already broken. So I can muster. When I got divorced, I was also going to college. So let me backtrack. After my first daughter's funeral, I got pregnant. So I had another daughter. So I think that also helped me kind of deal with what happened as well. So I had my son and then my daughter, who was 4 years. They are 4 years apart.
Yeah. Yeah. There's components
So
that make up how we cope or how we move on.
yeah,
And I think that just to kind of, put a nice little bow on this is that every entrepreneur, and even at later stages, I, I've I have been categorized as successful and had a thought like, what if I lose it all? And I think everybody listening has had that thought, no matter how successful they've gotten. We all
hmm
know that, it could just be like a couple of decisions away from the edge. Not that I actually feel like I'm a couple of decisions from the edge, but what if? And I'm always playing that game, not out of fear, but out of like, I don't know.
Because it could happen.
What would I do? Exactly. Like in that scenario, losing the child or losing the business or whatever, how do I react to that? How do I deal? And I think what the message that you're given is the same that I would tell a young entrepreneur or someone listening here today who's maybe not even a young entrepreneur is the resilient factor of, look, I don't know what's going to come at me this year, next year, but I'm going to figure it out. Well, you and I are similar in this way because I know God's got me. But secondarily, I've done the work. I'm not a perfect person.
Mhm.
I'm not by far of who I'm supposed to be yet, but I've done some work to where it doesn't really matter what comes this way.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not even ready, but I'm going to figure it out. There's not going to be
Yeah.
anything that keeps me down for too long. All right. Maybe for a little bit,
Yeah.
but not forever, for sure. Would you add anything
Not
to that as
forever.
we're kind of putting a bow on this little piece?
Well, I had nothing after her funeral, like nothing, no money. And so I had to just think like, okay, I still had clientele, but who wants to do clients after, you just lost your daughter? No
Right.
one, nobody. But I just forced myself to take appointments. So I just started with one client who came in. It was a $40 service. She tipped me in. From that tip, I was like, okay, I can do this.
Mm,
I can do this. I started over with $40
yeah. Wow.
and just was able to know how I can serve someone and provide value to their life.
A lot of times entrepreneurs, that is resilience. It's dwindling it down, not overthinking the whole situation, but dwindling it down to
Mhm.
what's right in front of me and what do I need to do next.
Yes.
For you in
Yes.
that moment, it was do this person's tax return or whatever that, or hair rather, and I'm gonna make it the greatest hair. And she gave me a tip, and then I'm gonna get another person in my chair. I remember this was many years ago, but I had 7 locations of Edible Arrangements franchise. I still own a couple of those, but we're getting ready for Valentine's Day, and it's the biggest day of the year. And I
Mhm.
also had gone back to work in my sales profession. And so, which
Mhm.
might sound a little odd, you owned 7 companies, millions of dollars in sales, but I had systems and everything was on, like really working and good, except Valentine's Day. And that year, I'm working full time. I'm a top, if not the top producer that year in my job and running these 7 businesses. And we're having our second kid. And I'm getting ready for Valentine's Day. And I literally remember sitting there. And I think if my hair would have come out, I would have been bald because I didn't know what else to do. There was just, I had crammed the calendar and my plate so full and I was stuffed,
Mhm.
but I had to keep moving. And for me in that moment, it was just, I got to get through Valentine's Day. I got to get, and
Right.
then even broken that down, it was, I got to find 10 more drivers for this store. Okay, great. Let me do that.
Mm.
And then let me move to the next store. I got to find 15 more folks for inside the store at that location. Okay, great. Like check, like just check, check. And you just got to keep moving down the line. At the end of the day, go to bed tomorrow, work on the list again until you can build a
Right.
little bit of a rhythm, until you can. I mean, you had multiple clients, probably then now have multiple chairs, now have a whole salon. Like it
Mhm.
eventually looking back, you can go, wow, like this worked. But in the moment, you're head down and you're just like trumpsing through the
Yeah.
like just one step after the other, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And so me wanting to be a hairstylist since first grade. Then when I was having my son, Ohio, it is cold in the winter, January, February, March. It's slow during the hair. And I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to supplement my income for a short amount of time? And so just as soon as I said that to myself, H&R Block had came on the TV and said, you can become a tax preparer and work from January to April 15th. I said,
Ding.
okay, well, that's what I needed.
Yeah,
We'll offer the free course and you pass your exam and you become a tax preparer.
that's cool.
Okay, we'll do that. And so that's what I did. And so I had already knew how to be in someone's personal space doing hair. And so I was able to transfer that care to being in someone's personal financial space.
Yeah.
And so the clients loved me, but back then they only paid $5 an hour.
Yep.
I said, I don't know who's working for you all for $5 an hour. I said, no, I'll finish out the season. This is what I told myself. I'll finish out the season and that's it. I just needed to make some extra money because I was having my first kid. And so that next tax season rolled around and the people that who I prepared their taxes, they called me because they knew I was a hairstylist. So they found my number and they said, are you doing taxes this year? And I said, yeah, yeah, sure.
I sure just opened up.
I sure am. And so I got some tax software and started preparing taxes. And it started with just one phone call. And so I would do both from January to April 15th. It was already slow doing hair. So I was able to manage my time. And then after April 15th, I was able to do hair full time. So after that, I really liked because I had already knew how to do my own, I guess, housekeeping and financial stuff. So I was practicing on my hairstylist friends and telling them about tax strategies they can do throughout the year, telling them how to be able to write off things or what things they could write off.
Mm.
And it just grew from there. And eventually it spiraled into me getting a degree. John Carroll is one of the best schools ever. I love John Carroll University in University Heights, Ohio. I go back there and judge entrepreneurship competitions all the time. And so it spiraled into a full-time tax business
Yeah, I love that.
firm, I should say.
Well, let's use that as a little springboard here. Got a couple questions for you around tax and just finances and stuff before we wrap up the show. You've got in here this quintillionaire number. Knowing you're a quintillionaire, you've even got it on your shirt. Tell us,
I have it on my
what is this
shirts.
quintillionaire number that I'm supposed to know?
Well, your quintillionaire number is your number that you need to know for when you retire. I had to put a unique word on it because people have a survival number or they have a freedom number. I said, well, okay, why don't we just call it something different? It's quintillionaire because that is a above a billionaire, above a trillionaire, and it is something unique. Like people ask me all the time, well, a quintillionaire? Said it's a word that's above trillionaire.
Yeah,
It has 18 zeros.
yeah, yeah,
And so just knowing a retirement number that you need to know or for when you retire. What does that look like to you, for you? When are you going to retire? How much are you going to need when you retire?
right,
Because you're going to retire.
yeah,
You're not going to work forever and you're going to die someday. I mean, that's very blunt, but that's the
just
truth because we aren't immortal.
yeah, that's right.
So,
Well, you've got entrepreneurs listening right now. Their ears are tickled by quintillionaire, but what you're saying at some point is that the game is going to slow down and that they won't be able to
yes.
produce at the same level. Obviously, if they are build a big enough business, then that's part of that lifestyle number of quintillionaire. But some of the strategies that you're talking about are being prudent now. Going back to some of our conversations before is like, how do I make good decisions now about money? And so, as an entrepreneur, what are some of these things that make up this quintillionaire number? So we got a guy that's 30 or a gal listening. They're 30 years old. They've got a good little business. Maybe they're making $100,000 or $200,000 a year, and you're gonna help them come up with their quintillionaire number. Let's walk through the exercise.
Okay, it is a formula. It's on my website under resources and it should say survival number.
Love it.
Now, for your freedom number, let me look at this. You would take your income and you would minus your expenses and you would get a number. Okay. For example's sake, say you make 200,000, you would minus your expenses of 36,000. And then that you would come to 164,000. Okay. Now that is your total net income. You would add your side hustle, which would be about, let's say, 10,000. So 164 plus 10,000 is 174,000. All right. So you would add 3% for inflation because everything inflates. We're capitalists,
Sometimes a little bit more.
It's a little bit more, yes. And then you would times that number by 2.5, which is your freedom price. Like you need to make 2.5 over what that number is. Okay. So that is 174,000 plus 3% for inflation, which is 5,220. And you would times it by 2.5, which you would get 179,220 times 2.5, which comes out to be $448,050. So that's an example of your freedom price of what you would need to make in order for you to be, I don't want to use the word comfortable,
Sure.
but in order for you to make quality decisions about the quality of your life.
Yeah. To make the same amount of money in a future circumstance.
Yeah.
And we can get into good decision making, right? Because there's some people who make 200,000 that spend 205,000. And that
I see it all the time.
equation doesn't work.
See it all the time.
But in that example you just gave, the 200,000 and you're only spending 36,000, that equation can work. I've seen that equation on my own sheet of paper years ago. I was like, let's increase this number and keep this number the same or decrease it and
Yes.
take
Yeah.
this middle piece and start, putting it to good work. Okay, so I've got this idea of whether it's retirement or being comfortable, being able to continue my lifestyle at some point. Again, give me just one last piece here because I'm young. I'm like, I'll get to it. Give me one more
Okay.
urgency piece of like, why should I really be thinking about this? Why should I even stop this podcast, reach out to you and have you help me work through this right now, even though I'm only 30 in this example?
If you're only 30 in this example, why don't you just take the time to know? I use an app called mint.com, which it's changing over to Karma, Credit Karma. But mint.com, you put your bills in and it gives you your net worth. If you just do that one thing, maybe you don't want to do anything else, but if you just look and see what you're bringing in and what's going out and you can have a net worth, you'll then start thinking about, oh, okay, well, how can I make more money? I want to increase this number. I want to have this number less more.
Yeah, I think that the message here is, look, you're either drifting, life is happening to you, or you are creating your own circumstances. And I don't know of any, you know, people that are winning in finance or in tax by just
Yeah.
drifting. And so it's
No,
got to be pretty
you're
intentional and well thought out, right?
you do.
Okay, well, you have shared some not only practical stuff with us today, but also just some really heartfelt stuff about your story, but then also a message to entrepreneurs everywhere that if you can do it, they can do it, but also the resilience piece. I just think that was really, really amazing. We had another queen on the stage not that long ago. Her show just came out a couple of days ago, and she did a TED talk on resilience, kind of the resilience queen, if you will. And I'm
Oh
just
yes, okay.
seeing, yeah, you saw that,
Mhm.
Dr. T. Anyway,
Yes.
the message is the same, right? No matter the circumstance, the message is keep going, be resilient, keep pushing. And so you already gave your website, but give it again. How can people find you? Where can they find you on social? Maybe they want to work with you. Maybe they want to pick your brain. How can they find you?
You can submit a contact form on my website, which is jptechservice.com. They can follow me on Instagram, Jennings Peyton Tax Service. That's one long word. They can follow me on YouTube, JP Tax Service and Accounting.
We'll put all that in the
But
show notes as well so that they can easily connect
yes,
with you. You have given a whole spectrum of value here today. So I just want to appreciate you for that. Thank you for what you're doing in entrepreneurs' lives, not even just here on the show, but just as the people. You're in tax season right now, actually.
tax
I'm
season right
I'm surprised
now.
we're even on this call. I've got some really great friends of mine and clients that are in the tax space, and whew, it is a sprint. So blessings to you and your family as they're putting up with you
Thank you.
through all of this time, and hopefully April
Yes.
15th will get here soon. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you, Miss J9.
Thank you. I appreciate being on the show.
Just blessings to you and all that you're putting forth to entrepreneurs everywhere. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Gathering the Kings today. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe, that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.